Let's bring in our good friend Calvin Wetzel here from CBSSports.com. And Calvin, it kicks off top of the hour with Connecticut taking on New York. It shouldn't shock it, but it's the biggest spread on the board. The total seems to be getting a little love to the over as well. 18 and a half. Are we laying it with New York in this one?
I can't bring myself to play this big of a number, but I also can't bring myself to hit the Connecticut Sun, who are the worst team in the league on the road at the best team. I do think if you want to play this game, you want to look more at like a first quarter. New York is noted for their strong starts the last couple of years, especially on offense. If you want to take I saw the first quarter team total at 24 and a half. So if you want to take New York to get to 25 in the first quarter, just come out and throw the first punch and start hitting shots. And then you don't have to mess around with the subs in the fourth quarter. Do they get backdoored? What happens there? You can just, you're done sweating it with the starters still on the court in the first quarter. So I would be looking to play like their first quarter spread, first quarter team total over, something like that.
Calvin, good to see you. So we were talking about this a bit earlier, that it's a kind of an odd scheduling quirk for the Vegas Aces as they played at Seattle. They came back home to play a home game against the Sparks, and then they're right back to Seattle here today. They were 5-point favorites in the first game. They lost by 20. They came home, they blew out the Sparks. Now they're back to a place where you assume Becky Hammonds is excited about this because she ripped her team for 2 straight days before the game against LA, and then they played really well. I laid 1.5 last night with the Aces. Numbers up to 3 or 3.5. Do you expect a better performance out of the Aces, or will Seattle keep going here with sort of maybe a matchup they've got that they like against the Vegas Aces?
Yeah, I actually think now that it's up to 3.5, I would be probably looking at the Storm side again, even though you are going to have the Aces obviously kind of looking for revenge and have that last 20-point beatdown on their minds. The Storm have also dropped 2 back-to-back really tough games against good teams. So they're going to be fired up and want to win this game as well. And I think that the markets are kind of just overinflating the Aces a little bit at this point for – they won back-to-back titles a couple years ago. They have all these all-stars, but Jewel Lloyd, who they brought in over the offseason via that trade, looks very much past her prime. They have a lot of depth issues and defensive issues. Asia Wilson is still, we were talking off air, one of the best players in the league and absolutely dominating, but she hasn't been getting as much help as she has in the last few years. And you're on the road again at Seattle after playing at home a couple nights ago. So I would have this as a pretty close game. I think if you're getting more than a full possession, 3.5, I think you got to take it and hope for that this game basically goes down to the wire.
We got another interesting one here, and the market has reacted certainly with the Sparks, the LA Sparks taking on the Phoenix Mercury. Still no Cameron Brink for LA, sitting at 2-5. Doesn't feel like they can stop anybody. But how surprised are you with Phoenix, too? 4-2 right now. No Clyde Cooper, no Alyssa Thomas, which I believe is not playing tonight again because this opened up at 1.5, and I'm seeing, 5 now?
Yep.
Yeah, this line's been moving a lot, probably because of that Alyssa Thomas news, most importantly, missing, like you said, her second straight game. In the Mercury, that they have a big 3, but you mentioned Copper has been out, AT is now out. Now the big 3 is down to 1 in Satu Sabli, and everyone else around them, basically role players. And a lot of these role players are like 27, 30-year-old rookies, players who basically had to go grind overseas for several years. And this is the first time they've ever made a WNBA roster. So not exactly household names, but I have been pretty impressed with them on the defensive end. A lot of these new players that the Mercury have in terms of their connectedness and their energy on that end. They don't have players who are going to go light you up for 15 or 20 points outside of Satu tonight. But a lot of these players that they brought in have been sneakily performing pretty well. And Nate Tibbetts has done a great job as a coach, I think. So I do think that is another line that's moved a little bit too far. I like the Mercury at +5 there.
Kevin, not so much about the game here for the Lynx on the road at Golden State. It's a 12-point margin, second biggest number on the board today. So, the Lynx should be able to take care of business at Golden State. But what's your outlook on Minnesota? Because really there's 4 teams numbers wise, according to the books, that all have a realistic shot at winning the WNBA championship. New York being the defending champions, the number one pick across most sports books. But number 2 is Minnesota. Are you in agreement that in terms of the biggest threats to New York is Minnesota?
I am. Yeah. I think Minnesota would be my pick to win it all this year. When you look at how last year ended, heartbreaking game 5 loss in the finals to the Liberty, where they had a call go against them at the end of regulation and lost that overtime in the winner go home games. So they bring everyone back from that team. The whole core is back. Nafisa Collier, who is questionable tonight. So for tonight's game, she may or may not play, but she's the MVP favorite right now after Caitlin Clark got hurt. She's the leading scorer in the league. And now they have Kayla McBride back in the lineup healthy as well after missing the first few games. This is a team that's really playing with a chip on their shoulder after how last season ended, still hasn't lost a game yet. And like I said, when you talk about those big four, the Liberty are phenomenal. The Fever are without Caitlin Clark right now, and the Aces, like I said, have been struggling defensively and had some depth issues. So I really look at the Lynx as the biggest challenger once again to the Liberty, and I think we probably see a finals rematch of last year, but I think the Lynx might be able to get over the hump this year.
Whether Collier plays or not, looks like the market agrees on the under in that game tonight with Golden State. You agree with it?
I do, yeah. I think if Nafisa Collier plays, she is the leading scorer, but she's also an elite defender. And the Valkyries, their defense has been pretty good by expansion team standards, but their offense is the worst in the league. So this game sets up really well for an under, especially with the way that the Lynx play at one of the slowest paces, second slowest pace in the league. So I think this is going to be an ugly game and finish under the total.
Oh, that's got underwritten all over it. Calvin Wetzel, CBSSports.com. We appreciate the time, my man. Enjoy the games. In-game live game day continues here on the grid.